this is Charmaine Ironside, the Diet Dropout Guru, and I'm here today to ask you, are you tired of waking up Monday morning or after the weekend or the long weekend and feeling like crap? Now, I have done that for many years of my life. You know, the long weekend would completely throw me off the wagon and I would say I'm going to start again Monday or Tuesday, and it was just like this never-ending cycle of being like really trying to be good during the week, and then the weekends everything goes out the window. And I realized that it just wasn't working for me. I didn't want to live a life where I was a different person during the week versus the weekend. That's not an easy way to live. That's not a fun way to live. That's not freedom for me. And my definition of success is to be able to live in my best body, but also, you know, indulge here and there and have freedom around food and never have to be on a diet. So if that sounds pretty good to you, I have an idea for you, an offer for you, a plan for you. So who am I? Why should you listen to me? Well, my name's Charmaine, and I've been through it all. I've been through hundreds of diets in my life. I've gained and lost hundreds of pounds since I was 11 years old and did my first diet. I want to show you this photo I just printed off my computer. This is me 2 years ago, and I was sure not living my best life in my best body. This was actually August 2015, so not quite 2 years ago. And you know, my knees hurt, my back hurt. I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. All my clothes were tight. My jeans, I didn't even put jeans on. I only wore stretchy pants because I was so uncomfortable. And I just really didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I was frustrated and I needed to change something. So I dieted for my whole, so from 11 till about 30 years old, and I thought dieting was going to be the only solution, but I always gained all the weight back that I lost. So what happened at this point in time was I decided I needed to try something new. The diet industry had failed me. I was not willing to go through another heartbreaking diet again, and so I started on a personal development journey. Now, you know, the average person buys a personal development book and probably reads 3 pages. I think that's what the stats show, and then we put them on the shelf. But I decided I really wanted to change, and I was not going to continue living my whole life hating my body, on and off diets, never having freedom around food, etc., etc. So, personal development taught me that my mindset was actually what was keeping me from my best body. It wasn't a lack of knowing what to eat, because I actually was a nutritionist and a fitness trainer at the time when I was at my highest weight. And so it wasn't that I didn't know what to do. So you might be going, yeah, like I know what to do, I just don't do it. Yeah, and that's most of us. You know, doctors and nurses are often the worst at taking care of their own health. You know, fitness trainers, sometimes we're overweight and we're not walking the walk. So it doesn't matter how much you know. Knowledge is not power, people. It just straight up isn't. Knowledge is only power if we take action on it. And so I'm like, dang it, I know what to do, I know what to eat to lose this weight, but I'm not willing to do it. And I would start doing it, and then I would fall back, and I would sabotage myself, and I would drink a bottle of wine and eat, 6 pieces of pizza in a sitting and go, oh, dang, like that's not gonna help me get my best body. And so I kept going through this cycle of sabotaging my best efforts. And so I started reading books. I read a book about self-sabotage, realized that I actually truly didn't believe I deserved my best body, and I had a lot of old beliefs that were keeping me stuck. I had beliefs that I was fat and I would always be fat. So I had to work on this, what was happening above the shoulders. It didn't matter what was happening below the shoulders, because everything is driven by your brain. Your subconscious mind controls 99% of what you do in a day. Your conscious mind's only responsible for 1. So if you make a decision you want to feel better, but your subconscious mind doesn't believe it's possible or believe that you deserve it, you're going to find a way to ruin your results. So if you've ever felt like you sabotage yourself with your food, with your exercise, you get on a great train and you're rocking it, and then one day you're like, oh, I'm going to skip one workout, and then it turns into a week, which turns into a month, and you say, oh, I'll just start back again in January. If that resonates for you, that's a mindset problem. That's not a willpower problem. That's not, you're lazy, nothing like that. It's just that you need to work on your mindset. So, I relentlessly pursued this personal development stuff, and I realized as well that the way I was eating in front of the TV, I was eating as I was writing emails, I was eating as I was driving, and so this is called mindless eating. And what was happening was every time I did eat, I wouldn't enjoy it because I was so mindless and focused on the other things. I would get indigestion. I would overeat to the point where I was uncomfortably full, and then an hour later I wouldn't even really remember that I had eaten, so I'd want more. And so I had really intense cravings for carbs and food at night that I wasn't able to control. And so I started to learn about mindful eating. Now, mindful eating, it sounds a little woo-woo to a lot of people, but it literally just means paying attention to your food instead of paying attention to everything else. And what that's done for me is it's helped me drop weight without dieting, because I know when I'm full, I don't overeat anymore, unless, maybe I have a really bad day and I really want to overeat. That happens here and there, and I'm not hard on myself anymore, which is another part of the journey, is to forgive yourself when you mess up instead of feeling bad and guilty and shaming yourself, because people that shame and guilt themselves are 80% less successful in losing weight than people that give themselves forgiveness when they screw up. So that's a tip for you. But back to mindful eating, it's been a game changer for me. And another cool thing about mindful eating is I know now if I'm eating for a reason other than physical hunger. So you know what I mean. You go into the cupboard and you just want to eat for some reason. Maybe it's boredom. Maybe you're uncomfortable because you're home alone and you're lonely. Maybe you're frustrated from your kids or a big day at work. Maybe you didn't have any self-care in the day, so food is your source of joy. So there's so many things that drive us to eat when we're not actually physically hungry. And obviously if we eat when we're not physically hungry, we're gonna gain weight. And so the mindful eating practice helped me realize, I eat when I'm sad. That's a big one for me. And I've had a lot of traumatic stuff happen in my life. And a big episode for me was when my mom died. I put on probably 30 pounds because I just ate my sorrows and I didn't want to feel them. And I've also had a couple miscarriages over the last couple years. And every time I found out I was having a miscarriage, I would go order a huge Indian feast, and I'd get a Slurpee and I'd spike it with rum, and I would just eat my face off until I couldn't even feel anything except for disgust. And my belly was so full, all I could focus on was that. So my point here is, my journey to my best body did not involve dieting. It involved learning how to eat more mindfully. It involved dealing with my emotions instead of eating them and stuffing them down. And it also involved changing the way I talked to myself, raising my self-belief so I didn't continually sabotage myself. And those are the three things. If you want to drop weight and keep it off and love your body, you got to do those three things. Eat mindfully, feel your feelings instead of eating them, and raise your self-belief. Now, if that's yeah, I got that. That sounds pretty cool and easy. Awesome. If you think that you could use some coaching in this, that's what I do. I help people, actually I help women specifically, get to their best body without dieting, but by changing the way they eat, eating more mindfully. And it's always going to be, 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this, because we all live busy lives. We have kids, we have jobs, we have stressful events. So yeah, no, I'm not saying I always eat mindfully and sit with my food for 20 minutes. No, sometimes I end up eating in the car. Sometimes, all these kind of things happen. But what I'm saying is I help people find a practice of mindful eating that works in their life. And I also help getting to the deep reasons why you sabotage yourself. So that's huge. If you don't know why you sabotage, you're never going to get out of that trap. And then the last one and the hardest one is to feel your feelings. Because if you're like me, I was taught, big girls don't cry, we don't show our emotions, it makes people uncomfortable, stuff that down, put those skeletons as far back to the back of your closet as you can. But you know what? All of those old patterns caused me to use food as my drug. And so I no longer do that. If I'm feeling upset, I cry, I journal, I call a friend. But that's a lot more productive than eating my emotions and always wearing my emotions on my body as fat. So I'm not going to tell you anymore because honestly, if you've watched this far, you need to sign up for the Diet Dropout online coaching with me. It starts Wednesday. It starts in 2 days, and it is the most life-changing thing you could do. There's no diet that even comes close to it. I've got testimonials written right here if you want to click the link. I just had a woman write me and she said, for the first time I looked at myself in the mirror and I actually liked what I saw. And I have goosebumps right now because that is why I do what I do. I had a woman say, just from mindful eating, I've lost 20 pounds in 21 days. There's such incredible results coming out of this coaching program, and I only allowed 10 people into the group because it's a really intimate, small group coaching program The group is very powerful. Knowing that you're not alone is huge on this journey. There's so much cool stuff that happens in the 21 days. I teach you everything I know about getting your best body. I teach you and inspire you and motivate you, and the group motivates you, and you're gonna get texts from me every day pumping you up. You're gonna get a video from me pumping you up. You're gonna get an exercise of the day that's really gonna drive home this stuff so that it becomes part of you. It becomes part of your life, and you never have to even think about dieting again, and you can fall in love with your body. So like I said, I only have 10 spots. A couple of the spots have already been taken. And for anybody that takes action today, before the end of the long weekend, we're up in Canada, it's the long weekend, I will give you $100 off. And that is a 25% discount. This is a program that will change your life. I also have a 100% money back guarantee. If you're not happy with what you get, I will just happily refund you your money. I've got to say, I've never had anybody ask for their money back. I've only had incredible testimonials and incredible transformations and people whose lives are completely transformed, just like mine was when I learned about all these tools. And I've been relentlessly pursuing this through books, through retreats, through counseling. You know, I am just a voracious learner. So I want to give you everything I've learned in the last 2 or 3 years in 21 days and just shortcut your path to success so you don't have to experience another day of dieting and wasting your time, and you can have freedom with food and also end the war with your body, because life's too short to not love our bodies, and they are really the only place we have to live. So take action today. This is going to change your life. The link to sign up is below. I'm super pumped to have you in the group, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.